John David Jackson, it was, spitting hot fire, last night. He was very, very angry over the fact that Danny Jacobs was allegedly a cruiserweight last night. This your boy CJ Goodfella back with the Boxing Clinic one time for the one time. Shout out to that LDBC and YTBC we working. And, he said that Luis Arias Cuba came in minimum 170. He said Danny Jacobs' team refused to step on the scale last night. And he said everybody in the building that's seen it, he was physically bigger than Luis Arias. He came in about, not even a super middleweight, not even a light heavyweight. He came in there at cruiserweight. He said he guaranteed he was around the cruiserweight. And Danny Jacobs is known to do that. He did it with Triple G. He passed on a fight on the IBF because the IBF title, you need if it's not a unification bout anymore, you can't rehydrate any more than 10 pounds early in the morning the next day weigh-in. And he needs that for his advantage. He needs that for his advantage. Danny Jacobs knows his chin isn't the strongest, and he got to rehydrate that high. He need that advantage. He need that advantage. John David Jackson went in and saying that they need to stop fighting above their weight classes and fight at their natural weight. And I definitely agree with that. But before I speak on that, everybody know what it was with Danny Jacobs. He did it with Triple G, and then he gonna talk about he was only 175 to fight of the night. He wasn't. He was in the 180s, 190 range, probably 180 range, somewhere in there. We all know he was versus Triple G. Let's keep it real. But I just didn't want to, use no excuses like that for nobody. I'm not using excuses for Arias Cubas. Cuba Arias, because he what it is with Danny Jacobs. If you've been really watching this guy, you follow the Triple G fight, and you be on social media or you hear in the boxing circles, we all know Danny Jacobs likes to rehydrate high, and we know why, because to absorb the punishment. That's when he moves up to 168, he might get exposed because he's not going to have that cushion and weight no more. And he does that to absorb the punishment and absorb punches to get a competitive advantage. And I remember when I seen Richardson says that's why guys end up all crippled and beat up at the end of their career, because they're draining the fluids out their body. They're draining the water out the brain, because the brain sits in a lot of water to make these weights. And at the end of the day, in the long term, they're hurting themselves physically more than they know. And at the end of the day, Danny Jacobs is going to pay for that. That's going to be wear and tear on his body. That's going to shorten the life of his boxing career in his prime by shrinking down to those lower weight classes and then rehydrating up. That's not healthy. But Luis Cubas, Cuba Arias, I'm sorry, still earlier where I'm at. You can't be talking that junk, knowing what you knew though. You knew Danny Jacobs rehydrated high. We all did. You talked all that tough talk, and you came in there and laid an egg. And I understand what John David Jackson is saying. You talked all that stuff too. Talked about Danny Jacobs' chin, and you knew what he was trying to do because he did it in the past. You knew he was trying to rehydrate high to protect that chin, and it's doing his job. Right now it's doing his job. But at the end of the day, it's shortening his lifespan. You should have came here with no excuses. Understand he had something to say, and it's probably was factual what John David Jackson would say. I definitely agree with it. But at the end of the day, make you look like a sore loser, give that man his credit and move on. Because they're not changing. They're not changing that with guys, no second day weigh-ins. They did that to protect the fighter and the health of the fighter with the same day weigh-ins, But I think the East Belt should have a second day weigh-in, because rehydrating high, it's not fair. It's not healthy. Why should Cubans be going against somebody that's 10, 15, 20 pounds bigger than them if we got weight classes? Then need to destroy the weight classes then, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely was feeling what John David Jackson was saying. I wish he would have said it before the fight, because he knew what it was. But sour grapes, we gone.